Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 221 of your Take Two podcast. And guess what? It is 2021 as well. That's weird. That's really weird that we lined that up where it was like 2020 ended with episode 220.
Yep.
We started 2021 with episode 221. Weird. We love it. We did it on purpose, I think. I think we started 4 years
back
ago
in
exactly.
October 2016.
We did it on purpose. We played it out. But yeah, I'm excited. Had a decent weekend myself, so I'm looking forward to some things to come. Got some good watches in that I'm excited to talk to you guys about. And yeah, I don't know. How are you this weekend, Brian?
I'm doing good. I'm doing okay. You have the majority of the reviews for today and the majority of stuff. So what's going to happen? I'm going to talk with you. I'm going to be here with you. But then when the fourth quarter starts, even if it's a close podcast, I'm just going to leave and not play anymore.
Nice, nice.
Fucking Eagles, you damn Eagles. On a sports note, guys, later on this week, I am guesting on the Tight Ends podcast. They asked me to come on over and talk a little football, talk a little sports. The best part about that is the host there is a Cowboy fan, and as you guys know, I'm a Giants fan. So, I don't know, good timing for me to be on her show. I'll check our socials and we'll let you know when that drops.
You guys both have stuff to do this weekend as well, so that's good. And since it is the Tight Ends podcast, you are the perfect host because you love to talk out of your ass. Okay.
Zinger! Tony's got his Browns hat on. I am going to hold up my end of the bargain from 3 weeks ago when the Giants did lose to the Browns. I just don't have any Browns gear to wear. So we actually haven't seen each other in 3 weeks for
not really.
that exchange. So it will happen. I promise. I'm not welching on that one. Quick shout outs before we get started here. Fisher and Pastore, some guys that we know. They both jumped onto our show this week. They started listening to our show this week. Awkwardly, Fisher started listening to it while I was sitting right next to him.
That is weird. That's very weird.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it when he started laughing. He's giggling. He was like, that was a good part. And he was like, hey, who said this line? Because he wasn't sure which of our voices was which real quick.
Sure.
But we're glad to have him
credit
report.
for my pithy jokes.
Yeah, I told him. I was like, all right, we're going to give you guys a shout out. We appreciate it. So, gentlemen, you have two jobs now. A, subscribe. B, tell all your friends. Get them on there because they are hitting our younger demographic.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, then C, also, just take $1, reach in your pocket, hand it over to us, and sign up for that Patreon because you'll get even more episodes all from us talking.
Boom. Speaking of Patreon, folks, you have an episode in your feed right now. Tony and I go back and review 2015. What was that year like in film? What movies would we have reviewed for the podcast? We weren't a show back then. So we kind of wanted to break it down and say, hey, these are the things we would have talked about then. And then we give you our top 10s. And again, there are our personal top 10s, not the actual top 10 films that year. It's a lot of fun. It's on our Patreon right now. Kat, Roy, Ryan, Lisa, Kevin, Vaughn, Craig, and Chris, you guys all have probably already heard it. Tell your friends all about it. And the rest of you guys, as Tony just mentioned, only $1 a month, patreon.com, Take Two Podcast. You get all this fun new content, at least 2 shows a month, plus more.
Yeah, and that was a really fun one. I really enjoyed that episode. I was surprised once I did some homework. Like I said, I did 20 rewatches of stuff or new watches, and it just got me going and really wanted me to dive into that year. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, my favorites are not the ones that were the awards movies or anything. We didn't really talk about those at all. So I thought that was a good conversation. I really enjoyed that one. So yeah, it's worth the $1, folks. Check it out.
Check out our socials. We have the Instagram where we're putting up a lot of stuff almost every single day, or more stuff than daily. Of course, Facebook. We have 2 things you do on Facebook, our regular Facebook page, and then there's the group page. The group page is where you yourself, a fan, can post plenty of things on there, get conversations started. Chris, he dropped something on there. He showed a little love to the show and more segments. He wants a true crime corner segment on the show, which I think starting next week, we might adhere to his wish a little bit.
It might not be weekly, but I'll keep doing it. It's definitely something I love checking out, and I will continue to review all the new stuff. I mean, I always try to anyways. It's just one of my things I enjoy. So yeah, I'll just try and advertise it as such as my true crime corner.
Of course, it's I already mentioned Instagram, Twitter. You can email us, and then the hotline 434-602-1931. You can text or leave a voicemail on there. Buddy, are you ready for your final podcast as a 39-year-old?
Oh, yeah, that sucks, doesn't it? That was the one thing that sucked about turning the page to this year, is just knowing that was around the corner, and it is what it is, though, man,
This is true. Okay, well, let's get started here. We've got all the promotions out of the way, so we're going to listen, guys. We got a bunch of reviews here: Promising Young Woman, Nomadland, A Teacher. We finally finished up. Greenland, Kid Detective, and Yearly Departed are going to rock everything out. The rest of our show is going to be a little light because it was a super light week across the board.
Yeah.
Trailers, no box office, no, we don't have pods or what's in the glass this week. Even DC Marvel, there just wasn't a lot of news. So what we have, we're going to give you. But for the most part, this is going to be a very review heavy show. You're welcome.
Hmm.
Before we start,
Sure.
I talked to 2 listeners this week, maybe 3. I'm getting my days, and they all mentioned because of our show notes, they were able to jump around and listen to
Nice.
certain spots. And
Good.
that made me feel really good because we put that extra effort in to put those show notes in there. But to you guys listening, if you might have not seen yet Promising Young Woman or Nomadland because they're not out necessarily, check those show notes. They're right there at the very bottom. You can jump around as much as you want. Then when you do see them, come on back, re-listen to this, and you can hear our review. Cool?
Yeah, that's the key. Come on back to the episode once you watched it, and then see if your review jives with ours, and then reach out on socials and let us know. All right. I think you've talked enough. It's time to jump
Sorry.
into the poll. No, that's all good. That's all good stuff. So the poll for this week, remember, it's up there every Thursday, guys, and it's up there all weekend. So I posted on Thursdays. It's up there all weekend. I know it was posted on a holiday the last couple weeks, so that may have kind of limited some interaction on it. But actually, this one got a lot of votes on the old Twitter, at least. So I just wanted to know what people were looking forward to watching in January. As we were turning into 2021, what were you most looking forward to for January? Cobra Kai Season 3. The Little Things, which is coming on HBO Max later this month, WandaVision for Disney Plus, and just the inauguration. I know there's some people out there who are probably excited about that. I didn't really know anything else that was that exciting coming forward for January. It's kind of a lame month as far as entertainment goes, really. So those are the big options. WandaVision wins. No surprise there, but pretty easily, 54% on Twitter. Cobra Kai, second place, 32%. It had a pretty good showing. A lot of people were really excited about it. I saw a lot of people posting about it. I'm sorry, folks. Me or Brian just haven't watched the show. So we're not going to have a review of it here. If you do want to jump over to Friday Night Movie, I know they're a big fan of that. They'll probably dissect Season 3 for you guys over there. So check them out. We got a couple other shout-outs, though. Shy said not WandaVision. So I guess he's not looking forward to that one. Not a fan of the WandaVision.
I actually
but
want to talk to him about that. I'm curious why not WandaVision.
It's weird because Shy has some very passionate, like negative views on certain things, like his Last Jedi rants, or this, not WandaVision. It's weird, but then he loves stuff like cats, and it's like, okay, weird. But then the other cats, the cats that we do like, said WandaVision. He wants to look at WandaVision, as well as some shout outs on Twitter from Mark Aarons. I don't think we've ever seen him as a person commenting before, so welcome to the podcast. Hopefully you're a new listener.
Oh, hi,
he shouted
Mark.
out Little Things. Huh?
I said, oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Yeah,
He shouted out Little Things. Podcast HQ put up a GIF of Cobra Kai. They were talking about wanting to watch Cobra Kai, as well as Chris on Instagram said Cobra Kai. And then Will commented Snyder Cut. And I was like, sorry, bud, that's not out until March. He's just excited for it, period. So he wanted to say Snyder Cut. So pretty decent poll this week, decent interaction. The only thing I'm really looking forward to, honestly, is WandaVision. Maybe Little Things. Now that we've seen that trailer, it did get me excited in it.
True. Yeah, I voted WandaVision. That's it. Probably because Shy said no, so I was like, well, I'm going to switch.
I'm really intrigued to see. I mean, this turns a new page for Disney Plus and for Marvel, and seeing what they're going to do with these shows this whole year. They've never really done it to this level where you're bringing the established characters from the movies onto the small screen, as it were. They haven't done it this way. All the Marvel shows before it were created from other characters and smaller, and they never crossed over into the movies. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that.
I would agree with you, sir. Don't forget, Tony already said it. Every Thursday, that poll is dropped on all of our socials across the board. You can find it on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Vote, comment, tell your pals to vote, comment along. And if you miss it on Thursday, it's there through Sunday. I always forget that myself. And Sunday morning or Monday morning, look at the poll you ran received however many votes. I'm like, oh, that's right. So it is a bonus for us. Okay, we're ready for these reviews. We got 6 great reviews for you guys. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna knock out 3 of them. Take a little break. Kind of mix up our show a little bit today for you guys who are loyal listeners and you know how things work around here. Just to switch it up a little bit because the news is so light. 3 reviews, gonna take a breather, then we'll come back and finish things up. But starting off, I am furious at you that you got to see this film without me and you're gonna review it without me. But either way, Promising Young Woman. Take it away.
Sorry. Yeah, this is one that
you're going to be saying that a lot because I'm going to say that same sentence a lot for like 3 films you saw without me today.
I could not resist watching this movie when I had the opportunity because I've been wanting to see it all year. When that trailer dropped last year,
Yeah.
It was one of the best trailers of the year. It was fantastic. I was super anticipating it in April. We went ahead and did our Carey Mulligan Spotlight episode as well, based on the strength of this movie, what I thought was going to be coming from it. It did well at Sundance. I'm going to try and walk a tightrope here and be as non-spoilery as I can because you haven't seen it. But again, like Brian said earlier, the show notes are there. If you need to jump around and you don't want to hear me talk about it, please do. So, Promising Young Woman, let me give you the spoiler here. This is automatically in my top 10, if not my top 5 films of 2019 or 2020. I love this movie. I thought it was fantastic. It was exactly what I wanted it to be and more. So no letdown for me at all, which I was so happy by. I will say, with it being as non-spoilery as I can, the end of the movie is could be a little bit polarizing. There's something that happens near the end of the movie that I could see some people just not liking that or not getting it or whatever, and it could turn some people off. I just want to put that out there that maybe it's not for everyone.
Trump wins. Sorry.
Well, I think it's because this movie walks such, like I said, a tightrope with its tone, and it has a lot of tonal shifts. The movie at its core is about a woman who is basically traumatized by a rape of her best friend from growing up. And she has now kind of committed her life to getting revenge to some of these people and just men in general who treat women this way. So in her daily life, she's working at a coffee shop, whatever, kind of a loser, really. She's still living with her parents. Her parents are mad about it. She's 30 years old, still living at home with them. She was in med school, dropped out because of this event, and just kind of ruined her whole life by being involved with this friend who was raped, and the school really didn't take it serious, didn't really investigate it, and just kind of sided with the man, which is a common story, and you see that a lot in the news still today. I think the title of the movie, Promising Young Woman, comes from that one case where the guy raped the woman by the dumpster. Do you remember that? Okay. And I think in the news they reported him as being a promising young man, and I think that's where the inspiration. I mean, don't quote me on that. I'm not Emerald Fennell, the writer director, but I think that's where this came from and the title, because I wondered that myself. Gotcha. But it also has some dual meanings. She was a promising young woman herself because she was in med school and then drops out because of what happens with her friend. So yeah, she kind of lives a dual life. At night, and when she's not working in the coffee shop, she goes out and she tries to act drunk in these clubs. She goes by herself and just hoping that some man will step up and do what men do and kind of take advantage, Oof. And when they do, she gets her revenge on them. Now, I think the trailer sells it as almost like she's murdering these men. It's not really that, I don't think. So don't go into it thinking that you're watching the Joker 2.0. I mean, it does kind of have some little Joker-y nods to the way the character is played, but maybe not that far. But I really love this movie. I thought this is probably the best performance I've seen Carey Mulligan give. Wow. I really liked her in Wildfire a couple years ago. Nobody saw that. And in Education, I'm a big fan of her in that one. But this is right up there, possibly. Actually, I'll say it. It is her best performance. I really think so. Okay. And she is just a really strong female character. And like I said, it has hints of that Joker kind of like I'm on the edge of craziness. It reminded me of like a Furiosa, kind of performance, like just a very strong female, or even like Amy Dunn in Gone Girl, that character. Oh, it's kind of that extent of like these psychological kind of mind games and stuff that come into it. It also kind of reminded me of the movie Nightcrawler, which I'm a big fan of with Jake Gyllenhaal. So that's kind of where her performance comes from and where her character goes, if you know those movies and that kind of tone. But honestly, this movie is also funny. And that's what I was saying about the tonal shifts. There's some really funny parts, especially if you are on her side and kind of rooting for her and seeing what she's doing to these men. It's kind of funny. It's a dark comedy, but it is funny. And then there's also a part in the movie where she meets an old friend who went to med school with her, and they start up a friendship that kind of develops into a romance. So for a little bit of the second act, it's almost like a romantic comedy to some extent, where you see her with a man who's not trying to take advantage of her and who could be one of the good guys kind of thing, Yeah. So I like that they kind of included that, and just the different ways that it looked at, female-male interactions and gender roles and sex and all that kind of stuff, and what's expected of women or how they're supposed to treat themselves when they're out and things like that. It really does raise some good questions, especially in like a post-Me Too era kind of thing, and there's a lot of commentary on that. The costuming, the hair and makeup, the production design, all of it is top notch. It really stands out. It looks like you're watching just like a pop art, like Andy Warhol piece. It's very colorful. It's very bright. And a lot of her, like I said, her design of her costuming and makeup and things like that, she's going out and trying to entice these women. So all that stuff comes into it. Which actually, when you watch the movie, there's a quick cameo by the director in that part where she's
Oh,
doing a YouTube tutorial of makeup. So I thought that was kind of fun.
cool.
Um, I mentioned her name before. Emerald Fennell is the writer director. This is actually her debut,
Oh,
so I'm pumped to see what she does next. She was a showrunner on Killing Eve for the second season, which I love that show as well. So that explains. I love that tone. I love what they do there with that snarky, kind of tight comedy that's dark, but it can also be violent. And I
sure.
think, like I said, very much a tightrope of those tonal shifts and making it work. And she knocks it out of the park. Let me see what else I got here. I did scroll down some notes as I was watching it. As far as supporting performances, Bo Burnham plays the kind of boyfriend love interest in the film. He's fantastic. I really haven't seen him act much. I know he started out as like a YouTube personality, and then he did some stand-up comedy, and then he directed the movie Eighth Grade, which 2 years ago that was one of my favorite movies of the year. So this guy's really all over the place, but he kills it as this kind of secondary lead in the movie or supporting actor lead. He's great in it. And then you've got Allison Brie as another girl who she knew in college that kind of pops in and out of the movie.
Cool.
Clancy Brown and Jennifer Coolidge play the parents. Laverne Cox plays the coworker that she works with at the coffee shop. Connie Britton plays the old dean of the college that she went to. And then some of these other men that show up in here that she kind of, it's in the trailer, but that she takes advantage of. Adam Brody, Max Greenfield, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Sam Richardson, they all show up. Molly Shannon has a quick role as the friend's mom that died.
Oh,
And then Alfred Molina is also in here as part of the law firm that kind of swept her case under the rug and didn't help out. So a lot of good names that pop up in here, quick performances. I didn't realize Margot Robbie was a producer on this, so that's really
oh wow.
cool. I'm hoping that this honestly gets a Best Picture nominee. I would love to see it. I don't know if it will. I think it's kind of on the outside looking in, but that would be awesome because then also Margot would be up for that Oscar as one of the
Right,
producers, so that's
right.
cool. Um, yeah, like I said, just go into it with all that knowledge of the tone of the movie and how it can shift around a lot. It's very serious, very heavy drama in some parts. It's very fun comedy in others, a little bit of romance even in the middle, and just it's a crazy ride, but it's bold, it's daring. It's one of the best films of 2020, and I loved it. I'm so glad I got to check it out, and I can't wait for you to see it, and then hope that you agree with me on my take. So.
Yeah, a lot of high praise, but from what I've been reading, you're not the only one high praising this thing. I'm super pumped, and maybe even more super pumped for it. To say that this is her best performance after we did a spotlight on her and broke down how amazing she is, that's awesome. And I even more so want to see it. That's great, man.
Yeah, I think it is getting released actually next week. I think on the 11th. I think it's going to get a digital release already.
Okay,
So
cool, cool.
yeah, right now it's only in theaters, but yeah, check it out, please. Everybody, check it out, and let me know. Let me know what you think.
Another lady I am a humongous fan of is old Frances McD. And you got to see a movie starring this lady. Now, this doesn't come out until like February-ish, but you got a
Yes,
hold of it early because of your connections.
yes. I do have some connections. I've been trying to get a chance to watch this movie since October-ish when we almost got to see it for part of the Middleburg Film Festival.
Yeah,
But it's been hard to get a hold of. Like unless you are top critics and know somebody, whatever, it's hard to get in and get a part of it. So I finally was able to get a screening of it. It does not come out theatrically until February since they extended the Oscar deadline and all that. They're trying to get in kind of late theatrically, so it's most fresh on people's minds, I guess.
sure.
So yeah, not going to see this one theatrically till February 19th, but I had a chance to check it out this weekend, and really I was motivated to see it because I wanted to finish out my top 10 list from 2020 and just see all the, this is supposed to be a Best Picture nominee, possibly winner. It already won the Golden Lion at Venice and the People's Choice at TIFF, the
Sweet.
first film to ever do that, to do both of those things. So
That's awesome.
it's definitely like a Best Picture frontrunner at this point. So I was like, I got to see it. I got to close out 2020. I will give you the long and short of it. It is not one of my favorites of the year. It won't crack my top 10. However, it is a very well made movie. Very well made. I respect the hell out of this movie. I like what it was trying to do. I think it will be a Best Picture nominee. And I think there's probably three films that I could see being like really favorites for possibly winning, and this is one of them. But just for me, as far as being a favorite, it doesn't go there. It doesn't go there for me.
Okay.
Frances McDormand's good. She's very good. I could see her still getting nominated for this. I don't think she should win, but very good performance. She always gives a good performance. Now, and this is written and directed and edited by Chloe Zhao, who has only really done The Rider and I think one other movie in the last couple of years. So she's kind of been this independent, under the radar director for the most part. This is really her first big movie that she's getting noticed for. And this movie is about nomads in our country. It's based on a book from 2017, and it looks at specifically post 2011, kind of an economic downturn that our country took. And this one city in particular was totally cleared out to the point where they got rid of the zip code because it lost so many jobs and everyone had to move. They got rid of the city altogether, and all these people have become nomads, where they just live out of their RVs, live out of their vans, and they bounce around job to job, just temporary work, just to try and make ends meet and to live. And for the most part, these people talk about it in a positive way, that they want to live this way, and this is their choice of their life. They want to do this. They want to just live in their RVs and travel and take jobs when they need it and whatever. So it's really interesting, and especially the way it's shot, because it almost feels documentary-ish. Besides Frances McDormand and David Strathairn comes in for another supporting role, everyone else in the movie are real nomads that she got to talk and be in the movie and be on camera. Some of them actually get some decent-sized parts, if you will, but they're real people. They're just playing kind of played-up versions of themselves for the movie. So it has kind of a documentary feel, and I loved it. I thought they did a really good job at that, bringing in these real people for the supporting roles. There, though, lies my problem with the movie, I think, is I was more attached and more interested by those stories of the supporting cast and felt their stories more emotionally and things like that than I did for Frances McDormand. I didn't really love her character. I feel like she made me not like her for a lot of the movie, and I was more attached to some of these side characters and was more interested by their roles and their lives and things like that. So it's a beautiful movie. Like I said, I respect it. It's well made. The cinematography is gorgeous. There's a bunch of like tracking shots and just following shots and side pans where they follow a character through a city. And like 10 shots are golden hour shots. Like, okay, sun's going down. We got like a couple minutes. Let's do this scene. And it's like, how hard is that to film a movie that way, where you have to wait an entire day just to get that one shot in, They did a great job of that, I will say. I don't know. That's my only sticking point with it, is the emotionality of it. The caring of Frances McDormand's character wasn't there for me. And that's why it doesn't get there for like, favorite of the year for me.
Gotcha.
We'll see what happens. I'm interested to see more people seeing it, and I know it is a critical darling, and a lot of people are loving it and giving it good reviews. I just found it really sad and lonely to me and kind of slow, where I was just like taken out of it by that. It wasn't an uplifting movie either. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
There were some parts where you kind of feel that, where these people do enjoy their life and they are experiencing life in a different way than you or I, where they're not attached to their goods and their services. They just live off the land and they go and travel and do it. So it's like, in a way, you kind of admire it, where you're like, oh yeah, they are getting to do and see things that I probably never will because I don't live this way or whatever. So I get it, but it's like, ooh, I almost just wish this was a documentary and I would have enjoyed it more. So also, this is another one where Frances McDormand is a producer on it. So if it does get a Best Picture nominee, she could be winning an Oscar there. So kind of fun.
It's the thing to do.
But yeah, good movie, well made. Just not my favorite. We'll see what happens. I do think it's going to be Best Picture nominee and all that stuff. So will it win? I don't know. But if you've seen it, reach out. Let us know if you have any thoughts on there. But it was just okay to me.
And Frances, she just seems like a lady I just want to party with. Just in real life. She just seems like she's very real, very cool, and like, let's just have some drinks. Although I think tequila is her drink of choice, and I can't do the tequila, but
she has some fun scenes in here, and she definitely goes all out. Like, you will see her completely naked in this movie. You will see her peeing in a bucket in this movie. Like, there are some crazy things that go on where she is like fully into it and trying to live this life and this role. And it's interesting too. Some of the stuff that you see is like, maybe behind the scenes that you didn't know, like they work in an Amazon factory for part of it. And it's like, oh, cool, this is what this looks like inside. Like, I was enjoying those kind of things more than anything. So,
all right. Well, another lady that I think every student out there would want to hang out with was Kate Maro's role in A Teacher. That was the character of Claire Wilson, and this is the 10 episodes on Hulu. Just wrapped up last week. It dropped on Tuesdays, which was a little unique, to say the least.
Yeah,
Definitely unique for us because we weren't able to do our normal scheduling. So for those of you who saw this last Tuesday, we're sorry it's been a week, but here you go. Here we're going to wrap everything up here. Kate Mara and Nick Robinson are your leads in this, and this is the story about a teacher that winds up hooking up with a student, and they carry on a little bit of a relationship, and then all the things that ensue afterwards. I am curious your take on this. I'll lead off here. I didn't really like it. There's nothing about Kate Mara's character that I like. There's nothing about it. And they just continuously emphasize that she's just not a good person. She likes smooching. She likes smooching more than just the boy, and it's just like her thing. And she tries to have a redeeming arc that I just didn't buy into, including all the way until the very end, which I was reading a thing with the director that they purposefully wanted to go that route with this.
Okay.
With that final scene, have both those characters make both of those choices. I thought acting wise, everyone did a good job. Nick Robinson's actually like 24, 25 years old in real life, and he's playing a high school senior. And then the show carries on for 5-6 years. It's not just their relationship. It's the after the relationship. It's then where do they progress? Where do they go in the community? And how do they live their lives after this incident has occurred? And I found that interesting that they wanted to go that route. This could have been bigger. This could have been more. I felt, these are 10 eps, but each one was only like 24 minutes long because, with the Hulu, you usually get the commercials. If you don't pay the extra, I pay the extra, so I don't get the commercials. Yeah, that's right. I'm rambling. Tell me your thoughts here. Did you like it? Did you not?
No, it's fine. It was fine. And this is, based on the same movie from the director and creator, 2013. She
Oh,
came out
same
with a movie.
director did the movie too?
Yes, yes. So this is more just an expansion of that idea she did with the movie. And I feel like the movie was very under the radar, independent, nobody saw it. So at least maybe this gets some eyes on what she's doing here. It was fine. We gave first thoughts on that first couple episodes. I think it was first 3 they gave us off the bat. And I like those. I thought the first 3 episodes was a good arc in what they gave us with their relationship and kind of where it went. But I was surprised by the show where it went. It went way farther than I thought as far as past the relationship. And then they did that 10 years later jump or whatever, and seeing her actually going to jail over it, all that kind of stuff. Like you said, Kate Mara and Nick Robinson, both good in their roles, did a good job with it. Yeah, you don't like her character for sure. She's just a despicable person. And it's sad that these stories still are in the news today. I don't know. That's weird. And now we're like, I don't know. At least it wasn't glorifying it, I guess, is a good thing. It did show the ramifications of it and everything. For me, I wanted to see more. Like you said, it could have been more. I wanted to see what we missed. I wanted to see the court stuff. I wanted to see the impact on the neighborhood and the community, the school, all that stuff. I feel like none of that was really touched on. And I just kept thinking, like, if that was me and if this happened, why would you still live in that same town? Either of them, really. They were still living in the same town and coming back and then encountering problems. I can't get a job now because, well, then fucking move. Because obviously people are going to know. I didn't understand that part of it. There were some intriguing scenes in there, like the Tinder date or kind of the frat scenes, like where people then were looking for them because they knew what happened. And that was kind of like, you did feel for them a little bit in that way, where it's like they were trying to move on and get away from it, but they couldn't. So that was kind of interesting. I liked MC Gainey. MC Gainey showed up for the last couple scenes, actually the last couple episodes, I think, as her dad and trying to help. Yeah. And I liked his role. I thought he did a good job with it. And also, I don't know if you noticed, Grace Gummer showed up in there, Meryl Streep's daughter. She was one of the bridesmaids that he ends up kind of having the more of an extended scene with. Yeah, it's one of Meryl Streep's daughters. So.
Oh, didn't know. Okay.
Whatever, man. The show was fine. It wasn't great, like we said.
It's positives. It does touch on how he, took the glorification. Like, the big scandal occurs. Everyone finds out. Well, he's the big man on campus. I was like, dude, you banged a teacher, and that's 100% what would happen. I would feel, everyone's, and then other girls want to be with him because they found out, so he must be good in bed, that type of thing. And then her on the Tinder dates, the guy's like, I Googled you, and so now I'm way into it. And
she was into it, though. She's into the rough stuff.
Yeah, she wound up. Oh, man, the whole scene when she makes the guy hit her and hit her and hit her. Yeah. There's some rough scenes. And, it's funny that this was from a film and then got scaled down to a degree with its rating, because you could have gone further, with the sex stuff, obviously. But then even with that, with like some of those deeper, darker scenes, you're right, though. It could have dove more into the courtroom and like the community. You only get those few scenes where she's about to get a job, and some other soccer mom's like, she can't work here. I would
Yeah,
never shop
yeah,
here again. You know who
yeah.
this lady is? She banged an 18-year-old. So
But like you said, it did a good job of not, I think, glorifying it and showing the other side of it. Like he could have just
yeah,
been like, yeah, I'm a pimp, but he wasn't. It showed how he was internally upset about it and how it did change his life. And then even like with his high school reunion and he's trying to like, get things back together with his old flame, all that stuff. So I did like how they did take it further than I thought it was going to be
sure,
originally.
sure.
From the trailer,
Yeah.
because it was a really good trailer. We were both kind of hooked in for the trailer and it went way further than I thought. So I will give it props for that, but it just something was off still. It wasn't a great show. It's okay. Check it out if you get a chance. It was a FX on Hulu production, so if you have either of those channels available to you, you can check it out now. 10 eps, 20 something minutes each. It's easy to, just binge it right out in one season, one day probably.
We are going to take a quick breather, and we're going to be right back with some more reviews. Buddy, I read somewhere Gerard Butler, when he did the first ever "This is Sparta"
Mm-hmm.
and kicked him in three, that the whole set laughed.
Because he just sounded like an idiot. Like
I
his
guess so.
accent or what?
I guess so. I just like apparently everyone laughed and they were like, "All right, cut, run that again. Give me a little more like man into it." And he did it. He says he did essentially the same, but I guess the set wasn't expecting it, and so everyone kind of giggled like, "Is this a comedy?" And then it turns out to be like his line, his big, tough line.
Yeah.
But to that, Gerard Butler thought, you get to watch another movie that I want to see.
Well, so I will say this. I did not want to see this. I was
Hey,
kind of not on my radar. Like I remember seeing the trailer and I was like, all right, whatever. But I just had the opportunity, I had the time. I was like, I'm checking it out. I'm checking out some Greenland because I'm on record as not being a huge Gerard Butler fan anymore. He kind of came out big with that 300, and that was a big moment for him. And I love 300. But then after that, it was like diminishing returns, really, in my opinion. The whole whatever Angel Has Fallen, all that stuff series, whatever, not my thing. This one, honestly, really surprised me, though. I like this movie quite a bit. I
really?
did not think that I was going to like it that much. And part of it, I think, that makes it work, Gerard Butler doesn't try to hide that he's Scottish at all.
Oh, really?
He's just full on like Scottish accent, like fuck it, whatever.
Nice.
I'm living in Kentucky, but I'm from Scotland. So I,
He's our
I
next Sean
did,
Connery.
yeah, I did like that. Yeah, he is. He could be a new Sean Connery. Just go with it, man.
High praise.
Yeah, this movie was surprisingly good. It is in the same vein as something like Independence Day, something like that. This is a family just trying to survive. There's comets coming to Earth, and they got to do whatever they can to get out of there. The government's trying to get people out, and they were one of the families selected, so they're trying to get out and get on this plane, and the government's going to take people to Greenland because they think that's going to be the safe spot, based on where the comets are hitting, whatever. So it's very much like an end of the world type movie. I love those kind of like disaster flicks, but again, most of those are not that good. Independence Day is one of the really good ones, and I think this is actually up there in that higher echelon of these kind of movies. Is this a hot take? But I think it's better than War of the Worlds.
Whoa, hot
Um,
take indeed.
so I'm sorry, Rick Roman. Wow, you are better than Steven Spielberg,
In this
because that's
day.
the writer director of this movie, Rick Roman. Wow, somebody I'd never even heard of. Apparently, he wrote and directed The Angel Has Fallen, the last of the Has Fallen series.
Sure.
So that's where him and Gerard Butler are now working together consistently.
At least talk about my girl, please.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so like I said, I had fun with it overall. Morena Baccarin, hot, amazing, love her. She's great. So glad she's in this movie. That was another reason to watch it right there.
Sure.
And then a couple little supporting roles pop up. Scott Glenn is in a couple scenes. He's really good. Sells some emotional stuff. Hope Davis and David Denham. If you don't know David Denham, he's Roy from The Office. They show up in here also for a couple scenes as another couple that they interact with along the way. Andrew Batchelor, Holt McCallany from Mindhunter. So a couple little small roles in here of people that I didn't even know were in the movie, so that made it enjoyable. I don't know, man. It had surprisingly good effects too. This is produced by STX Entertainment, who's like a really small kind of independent film that's trying, like production company that's trying to get bigger.
Yeah.
And I was surprised at how good the effects looked. It was a really pretty movie to watch. It looked believable. All the comments, all the impacts, all that stuff looked good. And just decent performances, all these people were able to do what they needed to do to act like they were in peril, and the family stuff hit. The only thing that didn't work maybe for me a little bit was the kid actor who plays their son in the movie was a little annoying sometimes, where I was like, ugh. Okay, Let's get away from him and let's get back to just the family, just the adults. Let the adults talk. So that was my only real con. This thing just surprised me. It was better than I expected. So I give it a thumbs up. Go check out the Greenland if you get a chance.
Very nice, very nice. All right, released actually quite a while ago, but it's been very under the radar. I think you and I have both heard about this film, but it just didn't come across our board or anybody else's, is The Kid Detective. But you
Yes,
got to watch
yes.
this one too.
Yes, I did. And this is just now coming on video on demand. It was released back in September at TIFF. It did like a little, you know, whatever festival run, I guess, and did a couple festival screenings, and then it was released in theaters like the end of October. But they
Hmm.
didn't do the kind of same day and date like a lot of these other companies are doing. They did the traditional run. So now it's coming out on demand here in January. I'm so glad I checked this movie out. This is another one, very surprising. One of my favorites of the year, honestly.
Ooh.
I don't know if it'll crack my 10, but it's a very good movie, and I highly recommend everyone checking it out. It's in the vein of something like Brick with what's his name, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, where it's like a high school kind of film noir movie.
Okay.
Something similar to that, or maybe like Big Lebowski, where it's just like an unconventional film noir, you know. So Adam Brody is our main character. He plays a guy who's in his 30s now, but he was famous for being a kid detective. When he was between like 12 and 15, he was kind of in this small town and solved a bunch of cases, like who stole the money from the fundraiser, and he
No
figured
kidding.
it out. It became like a local celebrity,
Huh.
but then now he's in his 30s and he's still doing that, and he hasn't been kind of as good at solving stuff, and business has dried up. Nobody cares about him anymore. He's kind of a drunk, just useless, whatever.
Uh-huh.
This girl from the high school comes to him and says, "My boyfriend was murdered, and I want your help trying to figure out what happened." So he's never really worked on a case this big, and takes it on. And like I said, it's an intriguing kind of film noir detective little story. It reminded me of Under the Silver Lake last year was another one that I liked. Even going back to something like Big Sleep, these old like Humphrey Bogart kind of film noir detective stories. So I loved it. I
Nice.
thought it was really good in that way. Yeah, just really good. Score, soundtrack was all on point. Adam Brody's performance was really good. There's a little bit of a twist to it that I didn't see coming, and I thought that was good. But also, again, third act, it kind of does have a tonal shift where you got to play with it. You got to stay with it because it is real fun and funny up front. Then it does get a little heavy and a little dramatic more near the end. But I thought they handled it well and did a good job with it. So I'm all in on Kid Detective. I highly recommend it.
Man, I
If you get a
have
chance, watch.
so much homework to do after this episode, and I hope that all of you guys do. Don't forget to hit us up on the socials at Take Two Podcast for Twitter, Facebook. You have both the regular page and then the group page. That's Take Two Universe. Join both of those instantly. Follow us on Instagram and then hit us up 434-602-1931. If you have seen any of these, which of these that Tony and I have just talked about so far are you most looking forward to? Okay, wrapping up 2020. I watched Yearly Departed. I feel like I just talked about this casting announcement like 3 episodes ago, and
Hmm.
then they dropped this on Amazon Prime. This is all female cast, all female comedians. They have a funeral for 2020, and this is one at a time. They go and they stand up on the pulpit or the stage, if you will, and just one at a time break down something in 2020 that we are saying goodbye to.
Okay.
This is Rachel Brosnahan, Sarah Silverman, Natasha Leggero, Tiffany Haddish, some big names here. Patty Harrison, Phoebe Robinson. Sterling K. Brown makes a quick appearance, just kind of as a silly cameo. But this is all females, and they do a fun job. They all just get up there, and each one of them does about 3 minutes, and they pick a topic. Tiffany Haddish does goodbye to casual sex. Does a whole bit on how fun casual sex used to be. It used to be you'd hit someone with the you up, you'd go over, you'd get the D, then you'd leave. But that was gone. We couldn't do
Not
that in
now, yeah.
2020. It's completely so goodbye. And there's each one of them has a couple of good jokes. None of them is like grandiosely hilarious as they each can be, you know, in their
Hmm.
own comedy. But each one is fine. Each one is very funny. Brosnahan, you know how much I love her. She says goodbye to pants, just pants
Oh,
in general. Like you
okay.
didn't have to wear pants in 2020 for the most part.
But I see. I love sweatpants, so those are still pants. That's
See,
what I live in now.
that was my issue. I was like, well, I feel like all I did was wear sweatpants. So either way, again, and this is more the female's perspective. So
Ah,
they
okay.
did, and she starts off with we had high rise, we had low rise, we had this cut, that cut. So women, we didn't have to wear pants anymore. So then she kind of ends it, mic drops it by stepping out from behind the podium, and she has no pants on.
Nice.
and it's just
You
blurred
loved it.
out, like
You
nothing,
loved it.
no underwear, no nothing, but it's just blurred out, and it's funny. Phoebe Robinson then comes in and goes, "Well, now we'll call her Rachel Bras No Pants,"
Mm.
and I was like, "Dad joke for the win." Yeah, exactly. 45 minutes, it's fine. Here's the best part. Afterwards, and I feel bad saying that, but this is the best part of it. But afterwards, they show you the production of it. They
Mm.
weren't all together.
Yeah.
They all green screened themselves going up in front of this podium or
Okay.
in this little venue, this funeral home. And it was a very few instance where like two or three of them might have been in the room at the same time.
Mm.
And that they'd filmed their own parts by themselves, and then they all got CGI'd into the funeral parlor together. Buddy, really well done. I never once thought it until the end. I was like, holy crap, none of them were in the room together. It was like
That's
that
pretty
was
cool.
really
Yeah.
well done, really smart. The same people involved in making this also did I'm Your Woman with Brosnahan.
Okay. Okay. Nice.
So I don't know, and they're associated with Prime, so I'm wondering if there's a little connection there. They got a little deal going on. If you got 45 minutes, you won't be disappointed. You're not going to come out absolutely loving this thing, but it's cute. It's funny. You get a couple of quick chuckles, and that's it.
Better or worse than Death to 2020?
10,000 times better than Death Touch.
Okay.
I mean, these people are actually telling jokes and just, making fun of little things.
Can I tell you, we must be in the minority on that one because I've
We
talked
are.
to a few people who love that.
Words out of my mouth. I saw a friend of mine from high school on Facebook put funniest thing I've watched all year. This is hilarious. And then all of her comments were like, "Oh my God, I love it." Yeah, you and I guess we're not funny.
Yeah, I don't get it. We missed that one.
I should send this her way and see if she liked this film better
There you
because.
go. There you go. All right, cool.
All right, so we have a very quick casting couch to jump on, and let's knock that out.
Yeah, I saw a couple things that were more kind of rumory than anything, but I'll touch on those real quick. It has been rumored that they're talking about Taron Egerton or Michael B. Jordan being considered for the live-action Disney remake of Hercules.
All right.
I
Okay.
love Michael B. Jordan. I would love to have Michael B. Jordan as Hercules. I think that would work so well.
Michael B is a very in shape guy. I can see that. Edgerton, I'm not picturing like a muscular dude.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing is maybe the Zero to Hero would work more with him because he's
True.
not really super. I don't know, but I
Valid.
think that the race swap would make it interesting. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. Are we gonna give him like long flowing hair?
Ooh, yeah, I like it. I just want him to say "Hey, Auntie" in this one. So, uh, apparently, they have offered the role of Smee in the live-action Peter Pan and Wendy to either Nick Offerman or Brendan Gleeson. Also, I guess both of them are being considered. But the role has been offered to Nick Offerman, and then Brendan Gleeson's being considered. I love Nick Offerman. I think he's hilarious. He's great. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like Brendan Gleeson's the better choice.
Okay. Just for argument's sake, I'll take Nick Offerman. I'm good either way, but I'll go with Offerman just for the heck of it.
Yeah, all right. And then lastly, there's some discussion about Jodie Whittaker leaving Doctor Who after this season. They're in production on season 13 right now. BBC has not denied that. They're not coming out and saying no, she's not leaving. So it sounds like she is. The last couple of doctors have done the same thing. They've all left after 3 seasons. It must be just like a contractual kind of thing where they do it. So there's talk of them doing it mid-season, so around Christmas. They do that a lot where it's like mid-season, the Christmas special, then they'll introduce the new Doctor. It's kind of the way that they do things. So that could be coming soon. They did have a casting, though, in that announcement for British comedian John Bishop, who I looked at his filmography. I don't really know that I recognize anything stateside that he would be known for, but he is joining the cast, and that's all they said at this point. So I'm like, does that mean he's going to be the new Doctor, or is he just joining as somebody else? I don't know, but see.
So, it's not necessarily because she's a girl and all that kind of backlash.
No, I mean she did her full 3 seasons already.
Okay.
That was 2017 when that happened. So
Right.
she's kind of lived out what she wanted to do with it, I think.
Okay. Good. I was worried it
I
was
hope
just because
yeah.
of all that.
Yeah, I don't know if the show has been as popular as it used to be. I don't know if I see as many people talking about it and such, but
Yeah.
that could be any number of things, not her involvement, in my opinion. So,
Hot take. Never seen an episode.
it's actually pretty decent. I never watched the original like old run of it, like from the 60s on. I picked it up with Christopher Eccleston when he started, and that was like the new reboot of it kind of thing.
Sure.
Like I said, this is season 13, so I started there. I think I watched 2 or 3 seasons, so I only got through like a couple of the first 2 Doctors or whatever, and it's fun. It's a fun little sci-fi show. It's got the British humor in there. It's not bad. You wouldn't hate your time with it, I'll tell you.
Okie dokie.
All right, that's all I had though. Anything else?
The only other one on top of that is Kelvin Harrison has been cast as BB King in that Elvis movie with
Okay.
Hanks and people. They keep adding
Oh,
little pieces here.
did you see the fit up photo of him?
No, not good.
Tom Hanks. Well,
Yeah.
no, he went bald or whatever. Like they shaved his head bald.
Really?
At least, like I think he just has the side for
Okay.
being Colonel Parker or whatever.
Oh, he's
So
got the cul-de-sac rocking. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So he shared a picture online of it. I was like, ooh, it doesn't look good.
Not a good look. Not, yeah,
But I
so,
love Calvin Harrison. I'm all in on that. I mean,
yeah,
it's
I think
probably a
that's a great
small
cast.
cameo role, but
Yeah, agreed. So few of us can pull off the bald, I tell you. All right, that's done with the casting couch. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to now take another break, and we'll be back to wrap up the show. Superhero Secret Cinema's back. What were you going to say? I saw you.
no, I was just taking my
Oh,
break.
you're
Woosah.
taking an actual break. Okay. Mordu, Sue Storm, Prowler, Winter Soldier, Lewis, and Cheetah. Those were your clues. I tried to trick some folks up on this one. I think I may have. I said Prowler, and that went to Donald Glover, who played Aaron Davis in
Yeah.
Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, technically, he didn't become Prowler yet, but he
Yeah.
does. So I got kind of nerdy on that one. I was like, well, I
Sure.
didn't want to write Aaron Davis. That was
And
basically
well, and we had Prowler in the Spider Verse, so it's like
Spider-Verse.
you had to
Yeah.
kind of yeah.
Also, this movie is, if you think of this movie, you automatically think one guy by himself on Mars.
And he's not on
Yet
the.
he's not listed in here. I put 6 other people on here, and I also left off Benedict Wong. I could have thrown on here as well, but we just used him last week either way. So the answer, folks, was The Martian,
Yeah,
starring Matt
which we
Damon.
which we just talked about in our 2015 film. I think that's kind of where it came from, and the synergy, right?
Yep. Who else do we have this weekend that I was thinking of? Wig, maybe? I was thinking of Wig. I was thinking of that. But either way, Craig jumped in easily. He got it right away. Bart just answered
As we were recording, yeah.
45 minutes, not even 45 minutes ago, and just got it in. So congrats, Bart. You got that answer in just in time. And he did call me out for the Prowler faux pas
Oh,
there. And then Katz at least went in there. He was like, listen, I just got to watch more movies. I don't
yeah, I
know,
don't know.
which is fine. I
Hey,
love it.
that's all. And I highly recommend The Martian. Check out The Martian. It's a very good movie.
Yeah, fully agree. And to Katz's comment there, folks, comment along. Even if you don't know it, just you can write like go F yourself, Brian. I don't know this one, or give us a hint because we've been. Oh, I did throw a hint on this one.
Did you?
That we had an actress. I forget what the hint was that I wrote. I wrote a hint on here to try and help folks out that the actress was just discussed, I believe. Oh yeah, the hint was that we had a review coming up for this episode for 220 that we had.
Gotcha. Okay.
Um, it was Sue Storm, Kate Mara. That's what I was thinking of. We were going to review a teacher, Kate Mara. All right, let's move along. Hollywood news. Let's go.
All right. Let me start off with the sad news of the week. We had multiple rest in pieces this week. So,
Yeah.
first one that came across the desk was Dawn Wells, Mary Ann from Gilligan's Island. She was 82. She died of the COVID. So that's a shame. I didn't really dive into her filmography to see if there was anything else that she was kind of known for, but I mean, I used to watch Gilligan's Island as a kid. I loved it, and that's a shame. Were
Were
you a
you
Mary Ann?
same exact thing? Yes, as much as I enjoy the redheads, I definitely was a Marianne.
Yeah, I think I agree. I like Mary Ann as well. So that's a shame. Shabadoo, Adolfo Quinones, he was in Breakin' and Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo, known for his breakdancing. We actually saw him at the All-Star Comic Con a couple years ago. He sadly passed away. He was 65 years old. That seems pretty young. Yeah, there you go. All-Star.
Where was he? Yeah. Right?
18,
18, right?
Yeah.
I think. You can't even see it. We met him, sort of. Met him. Saw
Yeah,
him
yeah.
dancing. Yeah.
Yep.
Sad.
So that's a shame. I know a lot of people were. I think I broke the news to Shy's family, especially a very big fan of those movies, and he was pretty sad by that news, as we all are. That sucks. And another person who died this week, 65 as well, was Tanya Wells. Most recently on that 70s show, she played Midge, but I think we know her more as the Bond girl. She was in Bond Girl and View to a Kill. She was on the Charlie's Angels TV show in the final 5th season. She was in the movie Beastmaster. So just a couple random things from the 70s and 80s that we nerds really took to. So yeah, kind of a sad loss there. She actually collapsed on Christmas Eve walking her dogs, and still no cause of death listed as to what happened. So
My goodness.
yeah, crazy. And then one
Was
more
it
thing.
Tanya Wells? Her last name was Wells?
I thought that's what it was, isn't it?
Okay. You must
Did
be
I say it
right.
wrong?
I had Roberts in my head for some reason. Either way.
Yeah, well, let me double check because that is weird if we had two people named Wells that died in the same week. Did I get that wrong?
It's quite all right. Let me fix it right up here. You're probably right. Yeah, it's Tanya Roberts.
Ah, see, I fucked it up. My
That's
bad. I think I was writing Dawn Wells and then I wrote Tanya
yeah,
Wells as
yeah, yeah.
well.
That would have been weird if we had two
I
Wellses.
apologies. Tanya Roberts. There you go.
Either way, everything else you said was accurate. Okay, news.
Yeah, do you remember her most from Bond or what? From View to a Kill?
Once, like the name rang a bell, and I was like, "What?" So then once I looked her up, yeah, at that point,
That's the
sure.
one with Christopher Walken, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right, and then the last thing I wanted to mention, not really a rest in peace, but Tom Kane, another All-Star alum. We met him at All-Star Comic-Con a few years ago. Most notably known for being a voiceover actor in the Star Wars world. He did Yoda for Clone Wars, and then he actually did the Admiral Akbar voice in Last Jedi as well,
Oh,
since the original actor passed on. He had a stroke and is now unable to do voice acting anymore. So
bummer, dude.
that is a huge bummer, especially just for the Star Wars community. I know he had a lot of fans there for his work, and then he did tons of other voice work as well. Powerpuff Girls, a bunch of other shows. So he's a really well known voice actor. So that's a shame for him that he's not gonna be able to do what he loves anymore. So that sucks.
Bummer.
Let's see, Steven Soderbergh. Why can I not say that name? Steven Soderbergh
It's because
is
you gave up
working.
soda. That's why.
He's working on a philosophical sequel to Contagion, his 2011 movie. So I'm not sure quite what that means, but apparently he's working on a kind of sequel to Contagion. And I wonder if that's just because of the year we had with COVID
Yeah,
and Contagion was actually kind of revitalized. A lot of people were watching it on Netflix and stuff this year. So
sure.
he's like, maybe strike while the iron's hot, I guess.
Yeah, it's got to be COVID inspired to jump back on
Sure,
that.
sure. And then the last thing I saw was just basically every production in LA County right now has been shut down. Everything is delayed. Every TV series, every movie, anything that was going on in LA County is just put on hold. They have just had huge numbers there with COVID cases and deaths, and so nothing is happening. All the series, all the movies have been delayed. So we'll see
Right.
how that happens. What happens later this year. I think we still have some shows and movies that are, obviously movies have been really backed up, so we'll have plenty, but TV shows, they don't have as big of a production window as movies do, so we
Yeah,
may get to a point where there's kind of a movie or a TV show desert, where there's just nothing on and nothing available.
right. True. Very
We'll
true.
see. We'll see how bad these delays get.
The death of network television. It's on its way, sadly.
Oof. Could be.
Hope not. I saw that, remember, Quibi went out and people were trying to buy it? Roku has thrown their name into the hat to maybe acquire all of Quibi's content.
Hey, I mean, a few of those things I watched on there were not bad, to be honest, so it would be good for people to be able to see some of that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Um, excuse me, some money stuff. 2020 was down 80% at the box office, down to $2.3 billion. That's what we earned in the theaters today, compared to 2019's 11 plus billion dollars.
That's
Um,
insane. That's an insane drop. Wow. Okay.
yep, 80% down. That's crazy. And I know when you hear they're like, oh, they only earned 2.3 billion. Well, when you earned 11 billion
Yeah,
the previous
sure.
year, that's a lot of financing. To that degree, women directors made up 16% of the top 100 box office earnings this year. I know you can skew those numbers as much as you want with what was actually released and what came out and what not, but it's a step. We're in the right direction
Yeah,
here, and
I think so. I think so. I mean, I just reviewed two movies directed by women today, very
yeah,
highly. Another one is in my top two films of the year, directed by a first-time director at that.
sure,
And I think that's the other thing I'm taking from this year is there's a lot more. I think the diversity stuff is starting to work because there were a lot more people of color as well, and first-time directors that I saw stuff from that I really loved. I'm thinking something like Rada Blank with 40-Year-Old Virgin.
yeah.
So lots of things like that came out this year. I think it was definitely a step ahead in a lot of those things. And this was kind of the weird year that we had gave that an opportunity, gave some of these smaller voices the ability to move ahead and not have to deal with blockbusters every weekend. So I love it for that.
A young lady, this is the last thing that I have for Hollywood news before we move forward. A young lady on the internet claimed, and somehow she proved it. I didn't read how she proved it. She watched Twilight, just episode one, every single day in 2020.
Yeah, as you do, as
And
you
she
do.
put it on. She was able to watch it every single day. Is there a film, Tony, that you honestly feel you could watch, start to finish, every single day for
Probably Back to the
365 straight
Future.
days.
Probably
Ah,
Back to the
damn, that's
Future.
actually my answer.
Well, I feel like I've already done that almost anyways. If it's on TV, I put it on every chance I get. So,
Yeah.
yeah, probably. There's a couple I could throw out there. I'd say Jurassic Park, maybe too.
Yeah, we have the same brain. Yeah, I feel the same. I actually got yelled at because Back to the Future was on while we were putting away some Christmas things or whatever, and I was just, walking back and forth, carrying boxes left and right. And I get yelled at for quoting it as I walked by, like each time too loudly. And they're like, "Could you just shut up? Just let us enjoy the film." Like, no, I'm
Yeah.
terribly sorry, but yeah, I guess that would be my answer. Folks, hit us on the socials. What would be your answer? What movie could you watch every day, 365 straight days?
I wonder if you would start to get sick of it though. It's at some point. I don't think I would.
I love the challenge. See, my thing with her, and even to Back to the Future, like you have
Just
how many
watch the whole
Twilight?
series. Yeah,
Right,
watch the whole series and then start over.
right. That I would have believed more. Like, okay, I get it. She watched,
The first
one
one.
through. She
It'd be
watched
even weird. It'd be even weirder if she was like part 3 only.
just a random middle
Yeah.
one. Oh, geez. All right, wraps our Hollywood news onto DC discussion.
The only thing I saw DC related was the teaser for the Superman and Lois show, which you shared on our Facebook page. What did you think about that?
I've watched every other Superman product. I think I'm in. Yeah, it didn't look bad. I'm curious where they go with the boys. Him being a dad to having two sons. Current Superman comics, it's a that's the storyline. So I think they're trying to adhere to that. Current Superman readers, he's a dad. He's got the younger son, so maybe they're just going to go that route.
And they haven't really done that live action-y yet.
Right. Right. So you might get a little bit of the boys learning their powers. Do they have
Mm.
powers? They're half human, so that could be intriguing. And then him fighting. It makes me intrigued as to where CW is going. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're circling back to Superman again. It's kind of like this
Sure.
launched this 20 years ago, and now
Yeah.
it's almost like, I don't want to say it's a step back to put a Superman show on, but you know what I mean? Like we were headed in such a all girls, all diverse type
Yeah.
shows, and now we're just back to a married couple of Superman
Yeah.
and Lois.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm as sold as you are. I don't know if I love the Tyler Hoechlin as Superman. I might give it an episode or whatever just to see, but I don't know. I kind of think after what Marvel's doing and their response to their TV shows and the way they're doing their stuff, and then now with this stuff that's on CW, we've canceled Arrow. We're getting rid of Black Lightning after this year. We're getting rid of Supergirl. Batwoman's there, but we also recast. So there's a lot of stuff that I feel like the whole Arrowverse is like, maybe it's dead. Maybe we just need to move away, and maybe
Yeah.
DC needs to go more the route like Marvel is with. Okay, we're actually gonna have the big name people playing these roles, but give them shows. Maybe we can bring Henry Cavill back instead of Man of Steel 2. Let's give him a show on
Sure.
HBO Max. I'd be more intrigued to see DC go that route instead of the CWE stuff. I don't know.
That was my other thought while watching, and that might just speak to us and how involved we were with it. I might just be CW burned out or
Yeah, I think
Arrowverse
so.
burned. We're
Yeah,
just like, I've watched all these
but I
shows.
think a lot of people are. I think a lot of people are.
Yeah, and the few folks that I see online that just absolutely adored the endings of Arrow and Flash, I'm just like, really, guys, maybe we're just burned. I don't know, but I'm with you. I think other people are too. Two other things that I did see with the box office numbers, I'm sure you saw WW84 drop 67% in its domestic box office. That's not a surprise.
It's still doing all right though. It's made over 100 worldwide, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it's doing better than they thought. It's doing better than Tenet. Maybe it's showing a little bit of hope. But like I said, now January, February, there's really nothing coming out, or what is coming out is like your small awardsy stuff where they're just trying to get that qualifying run in for the Oscars.
It's
So
doing better than anyone thought when it's available
at
on
home,
your
yeah.
television or
But
telephone.
that's only until the end of this month, right? Wasn't it only until January 27th, and then they were going to take it off again?
I think so. That sounds right.
So,
I
so
think we
yeah, if you
talked
haven't
about
watched Wonder Woman yet, get on there and watch it. I will say we kind of rewatched it. My daughter likes it and wanted to watch it again, and I saw some parts of it again, and I was like, I don't know, man. It's still like I wanted to think that I liked it more, but I really didn't. I really didn't. I don't know.
I was on a side conversation with a co-host of the T3 Pod Network talking about he finally got on board, and he was saying this is Superman 2. And we mentioned it in our review.
Oh yeah,
It had
Donner,
its
yeah.
elements.
Hmm.
It kind of is, except I would have preferred. We already reviewed this film. They just missed the point where they could have gone even further. Let her lose all the powers and then come back. It would have hit a little harder, and I think it
And
was
it
just a missed.
and it just played like a series of vignettes of the character loosely tied together. Like let's do this setup. Let's film this, and this is a scene, and I
Sure.
don't know. It felt very loosely tied together for me.
Robert Pattinson has admitted that he's going through the gauntlet here trying to film Batman. Could this production be in trouble? Hot takey, headline grabbing. Basically, he has come out and admitted that it is a grueling process, that filming as Batman is tough and is taking a toll on him mentally and physically.
True.
Dude, you're Batman.
Yeah.
Like,
What do you
I
think was
kind of
going to
want it to
happen?
be
Yeah.
rough. I don't think there's a lot of fire behind the smoke. I just think it's tough
It makes
filming.
me
It's tough.
wonder. It makes me wonder if he's really committed to keep doing this, if we're going to get a full series out of him, or if it's just like a standalone one-off.
Sure, sure.
That
If
would
he's
be
already
really
having
weird.
issues, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I read an article, I didn't write it down as news, but I read an article earlier this week that said DC is fine going this direction of having like multiple Batman series, because now I guess there's been talk of them reviving World's Finest and doing like a Batman Superman team up movie.
Really.
I mean, that's rumory, and
With
doing it with Affleck.
Affleck and Cavill?
Yeah.
Fuck, I'd watch it. I'd watch the
I,
hell out
I
of
would too. I would too. But it's just like I don't know. I don't know where they're at. You know,
it.
do
Yeah,
you want to keep going with the Justice League stuff, or do you want to do your own new stuff? Are you gonna have multiple storylines? That's fine, but is that gonna detract your casual viewer who are like, wait a minute, which Batman am I watching? Where am I right now? And what
sure,
timeline?
sure.
Who's alive? Who's gonna be able to help him? Who's not? You know, all that stuff.
Yeah,
Because that was the thing I picked up on Wonder Woman the second time. I was like, wait a minute, I know it's in the '80s, and they did it so they wouldn't have Justice League, but I'm like, technically Bruce Wayne's alive, so wouldn't he remember all this shit happening?
would he have wished for his parents to be alive?
Yeah, like let's see that scene. That would have been kind of fun.
Yeah, yeah, that would have been a hell of an Easter egg. Like he's wishing for them to be back, and then
Yeah,
and Pedro Pascal takes him away. I
sure,
renounce your parents. Yeah, I'm with you. All right, that's the end of DC. We're all done there. Quick question for you before we move on to Marvel Minute.
sure.
What's worse, the bottom of the beer that last sip, or the bottom of your coffee when it gets a little chilly?
I see. I don't mind the bottom of the coffee because I do. You do black, don't you? I do like a little bit of sugar and cream, so it's like, ooh, it's a nice little sweetener at the end.
Okay,
Did you see
okay.
before I did the Trump drink though? I wanted to
The
note this. If you're
two-hander?
watching the video, I held it like this with two hands. That's because I wanted the tea bag to stay in place. I didn't want it to hit me in the face. So I'm not Trump. I know how to drink. Look, I can do it.
That is one of the funnier jokes of
That
Death
was
to
a
2020. Fuck, crap, man. Is Death to 2020 actually a good movie? No.
yeah.
It does have that
I know.
joke
I
in there.
kind of want to rewatch that too. Like, am I too harsh? I don't know.
Well, listen, I think our harshness was it had so much to start and then it just went straight political. That was my issue. Like there was more they
Yeah.
could talk about.
Maybe I'm just a cynic. That week, it was a bad one. With that one and Wonder Woman, I was like, fuck these, they suck.
Marvel Minute.
All right. The only thing I saw Marvel related really isn't news, but it was just Paul Greengrass was being interviewed for News of the World, and he talked about how there were plans with 20th Century Fox, and he was going to direct a X-Men versus Fantastic Four movie. They wanted to do that. They wanted to do a massive crossover event, bring Daredevil and Deadpool into it as well, and just have X-Men
Nice.
taking on Fantastic Four, similar to Civil War. It was in the vein of what Marvel was doing with Civil War. So I
That's
guess they were
cool.
pretty far into talks where he was going to direct it and everything. So
Wowzers.
now I'm kind of sad that didn't happen.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I got nothing. So we're now going to go forward and finish out the show.
All right, that's it.
Sorry.
Going forward, oh, that's all right. Going forward this week, January 5th, which is tomorrow as we're recording, you're going to get the Swear Words series on Netflix starring Nick Cage. I am going to watch the shit out of that. I'm excited. I love Nick Cage, and he's going to be swearing, so why not? Um, as well as Pieces of a Woman hits Netflix on the 7th. That's also supposed to be kind of an awardsy movie. Vanessa Kirby's performance got some awards love earlier this year, so we will have a review for you on that one next week as well. Marvel Studios Legends is coming to Disney Plus on January 8th. I don't really know much about that project, but I might have to check that out. Do you know anything
That's
about that?
that's the refresher. That's like you watch that and it's going to refresh you as to where these characters have all been and going.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll check it out. I don't know.
You and I don't need that, but it
Sure.
might be fun just to, and maybe they kind of give you a hint as to, okay, so Black Widow is, so now you know.
Okay.
Well, actually, literally, Black Widow is because she fell off the
Yes.
cliff and
Yes.
she's dead. Sorry.
This Is Us comes back for season 5 on NBC on the 5th. American Gods returns for season 3 on Stars on the 10th, as well as a documentary called Tiger, just called Tiger, on HBO Max on the 10th, which is about Tiger Woods, y'all.
Cool.
So I might have to check out that Tiger Woods documentary as well if I get time.
Heck yeah. It's a
Did you see
prequel.
the videos out there of him and his son golfing and like comparing their styles and all that stuff?
I was just going to say it's a prequel to the Charlie Woodstock that we're going to get in 40 years. Yeah,
I hope so, man. I hope he's good. I hope he continues on. I really do.
sure. Why not?
I
It'll
love
be
it.
a good time. Take Two Podcast Wise. Oh, excuse me. Before we get to Take Two Podcast Wise, Thursday on Last Man Standing is the crossover with Tim the
The
Toolman
home improvement.
Taylor and Mike Baxter. So they're going to have the two of them there. Man, I saw the commercial for it. They grade the heck out of his hair.
Yeah,
Tim,
yeah.
Tim the Tool. They made his hair like really great. Like, oh, Tim the Toolman's super old now, but his other character's not, I
They
guess.
should end it with Santa Claus like coming down the chimney or some shit. That'd be hilarious.
That would be good. So and apparently in last night's episode, the premiere, he vowed to not shave until the pandemic was over. So by the
Uh,
end of like his video things he does, he has this big beard. He's like, I bet I could play Santa Claus. I know. He's
the
just gonna
dad
go
jokes.
out.
The dad
Tim
jokes.
Allen's just gonna go out with a bang, man. I love it. But all right, so that's gonna be Thursday. Also on Thursday, you're gonna get your poll that you can vote on and share and tell all your friends about. Comment below. Hit that up on all of our socials across the board. That comes out on Thursday. Friday, you're going to get nothing. Saturday, you get the Superhero Secret Cinema. And then on Sunday, you're going to get a brand new spotlight, a former king of Hollywood. But I don't think he's the king anymore. He's just kind of
Ooh,
like
okay. Hot take.
off into the sunset. But although maybe recently things have brought him back. Things
Yeah,
are
off into the midnight sky, if you will.
hints galore. Look at all that, folks. Hit us up on all the socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Take Two Podcast is how you find us. And don't forget to join the group page as well. And the other thing, guys, Star Draft, thestardraft.com is this little fantasy award season thing that we're participating in. We've got nobody so far. So far, I'm winning because I'm the only one to sign up.
Oh,
Literally,
okay.
only one. My co-host hasn't even signed up yet. So
I'll
we'll
have to
get
look at it.
the Star
What is
Draft.
the Star Draft? I remember you made me talk about it, but I don't know what it is. I'm gonna check it out.
You're on the ad drops.
Oh yeah.
Let's Take Two Podcast. Join our league, and it's all free. We're going to do it for fun. Maybe if we get enough folks, we can put something like a T-shirt or a hat or something on for the stakes. But
There you go.
thestardraft.com, join there because we do have to schedule our draft shortly because award season right around the corner, and that's going to be exciting. Lastly, guys, if you're on our socials, when is that day? Today's the 4th. Let me look at my calendar.
You
Sunday.
look for when the Browns play the playoff game. That's on Sunday. Yep.
No. Oh, well, Sunday is the day that I was looking for. If you're on our socials at any point on Sunday and you feel like saying something nice or not nice, actually, one of these co-hosts' 40th birthday is coming up this weekend. Let me be the first to wish you a happy 40th birthday, co-host Tony.
Thank you. I feel like a spry 39-year-old still. So.
All right, folks, for episode 221. Have a great night, everybody.
See ya.